keyboard exchange international.
Wow. Hey, this has a nice sound, nice bright sound to it with reverb on this A100.
Yeah.
Hi, folks. Jim Huss and Mr. Grant here at Keyboard Exchange International Showroom, where we're doing a final test on this instrument, which is already sold, I believe. It's going to be delivered soon.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was just playing it a little bit this morning, Grant, and I couldn't figure out which of these Leslies is it attached to. So I didn't really lock that in. Which Leslie is it attached to here?
It's not attached to any of these external Leslies.
Okay.
The music is coming from the Leslie of your heart.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's a little known secret. Nobody actually knew that, including me, until just this moment. But okay, now get serious with me for a second, if you would, please.
Well,
Wait. You tell me this is not a real Leslie. I'm hearing a real Leslie sound.
All right.
Okay, so here we have it on what, chorale, and then tremolo. Okay, which one is it? I can't tell. I know this has self-contained speakers like all A100s do, but they typically don't give that kind of sound. So which Leslie did you attach to this organ? So just so I know, I want to make sure the color matches and all that.
It's not an actual Leslie. We've installed a Leslie effect, a rotating effect.
I've heard of that. Yeah, in fact, I've heard that done here in our shop before, but this one had me a little fooled.
Well, we surrounded it with Leslies too.
Maybe that was it. It's just an optical illusion, but the ear is tricked.
Yeah.
And although this organ could be hooked up to almost any one of those Leslies, and then you'd have a bigger sound, but I noticed you also put an OBL2 on this output system, which we don't typically have to have on an A100s, but why did you put an output on this organ?
Well, in this particular case, because this is now self-contained, the Leslie rotating effect, the rotating speaker effect that we've built into this now, we've built an effects loop that works within, or it interrupts the signal within the preamp, which means it will come out of the main speakers, but it also means we can send it direct out to a PA system. So this thing can be in a church with no Leslie, but you have a Leslie effect that is controlled by a half-moon tremolo switch like normal, but it also comes through the output, which you can't get from a standard Leslie. If we have a B3 and a Leslie, 122 or 147, you'll be switching that half moon all day long, and you get the difference in sound from your Leslie, but you have to mic that Leslie in order for it to go through the PA system. And that creates issues that everyone who's ever mic'd a Leslie is familiar with, because you have these rotating objects. You get wind noise,
motor noise, ambient noise.
Right, and it's also difficult sometimes to position two microphones on the Leslie in the size of a postage stamp that you have for the whole band, sometimes. And so this is a really nice option for people that don't have a whole lot of space or have a smaller church and they don't feel they need this, giant, powerful Leslie there, but they would like to have the sound of a Hammond organ with the Leslie effect. And also they can run it through their PA as the church grows. They start adding more into the PA signal, and it's really wonderful. It's something that hasn't been done. I think we certainly aren't the first shop to ever do this, but we've done it in a different way, perhaps than many, and the technology has significantly improved over the past few years. And you can demonstrate this. This Leslie effect that we've installed here, the lower rotor will speed up and slow down at a different pace from the upper rotor, just as it would in a standard Leslie.
Sure, because there's more mass on that bottom
Right.
rotor. Yeah.
So you get that really interesting effect where you can be switching back and forth, and you get this wonderful shimmer every time you go to tremolo, but you have the lower rotor spinning up halfway and then starting to slow down again and then spinning up halfway, maybe all the way. And it moves the people, especially when you're playing behind a pastor or something like that. It kind of, I don't know, it gets people up out of their chair. It moves the bottom end of everything in the room.
Just like a real Leslie.
Yeah, it's a great
But without
effect.
the expense or the space. This would
Sure.
be ideal also, folks, for people in a home where you don't have room for a Leslie, or you don't even want all that extra power. I mean, you put a real Leslie on an organ like this, it's going to sound exactly like a B3 or C3, because, why is that?
Well, the internal parts to the B3, C3, and A100s are literally the same. They did make some changes over the years on all of the B3s, C3s, and A100s going out of the factory. So you have some subtle differences here and there. There are lots of people that claim, oh, the A100s, they don't have as much power, the B3 has a different sound, and every organ has a different sound.
Yeah, they're like
They all have-
personalities.
yeah.
And it's also,
so it's hard to say those kinds of things about a certain model, but
Yeah.
internally they are created equally. They're all created with the same stuff, and depending on some individual components, individual tubes, the wear and tear over the years, sometimes people have made modifications, things like that. You get slightly different tones from all of them, slightly different responses, and sometimes dramatically different. When you're comparing an organ that hasn't been restored with something that has been restored, that has all new capacitors and new tubes and has everything gone through and make sure everything is working perfectly, there's a drastic difference between things that roll in the door here and things that roll back out the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a lot of variables, but didn't mention the fact that once this gets into a home or a church, the acoustical setting in that building is going to create additional variables.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm very interested when people tell me that they like the sound of a C3 or they like the sound of a B3, and we know they both can sound the same depending on the vintage,
Sure.
depending on the restoration that was done or not done.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of variables involved, but with this built-in Leslie effect, I know it took you guys a while to get it tuned in just right.
Yeah.
Because the rotor speed is adjustable, the top, the bottom, it's all adjustable.
Mm-hmm.
I know I came in there a few months ago and we worked together, and so I thought it sounded just right, but then you guys locked it in, and now you know the secret code for where to set the dials and everything. That took a little time and research, but man, I'll tell you, you got it perfect. You could fool a lot of people. I was just kind of kidding around when I said which Leslie is it, because I knew this had built-in effect, but it's it could fool a person. Now, if you have there's something else on here that we didn't mention, which is you set this up for 3 speeds. So
Sure.
if you turn the Leslie effect off, not on tremolo, not on chorale, just put it in the middle position here, then it kind of sounds just like an A100 would without a Leslie.
Yeah.
But then, so you could be playing along and people say, oh, that A100 sounds like good. Okay, but man, we didn't get Leslie with it. And then you hit that Leslie switch, and they're gonna react kind of like what I was playing about,
Yeah.
What's that? What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful invention, but wait, there's more.
There's more. Don't order yet.
Yeah.
Look what else you get.
What you get is a B3C3 sound at a much lower price
Yes, absolutely.
and less space required. So this is a great budget-friendly option. And if you're trying to save money, even if you have the space, you can save money because you don't need the Leslie. You can save money because A100s are less expensive to start with. And generally, the ones we buy are all in beautiful condition because they were originally made for the home with the built-in speakers. You didn't have to have a Leslie, but we all know it sounds better. And the other thing you didn't mention, but you led up to it by saying you could plug this into your PA system. If you don't have a really great PA, you could plug it into a good keyboard amp.
Oh, sure.
In fact, you could plug. It's got two outputs. You could have a bass amp hooked up to it for just the low end, and a keyboard amp for the mids and the highs. And man, you could shake some walls. You could
Absolutely
shake some paintings off the walls. But we're not here to do that. We don't even actually recommend that. But the power is there if you need it, how you set it up. And we can teach you and show you how to do all those things. But I'm going to play a little more. We'll sign off and say goodbye. But thanks for watching. And we have Bill show you around and show you we have all these B3s just waiting for a good home. We've got C3s, A100s that Grant and Bill go through meticulously, with the electronics changing sometimes 100 electronic parts just to make it as good as new, but actually better than new. Because you add some stuff the factory didn't think about, like grounding, fusing, outputs.
Yeah, we do a few extras that generally are related to safety, not so much performance, but it's a known fact that components that are being manufactured today, such as capacitors and resistors, they've made considerable improvements to those over the years, and as far as reliability and cost sometimes. But yeah, we get these things in good as new shape and sometimes better than new.
Yeah, I like that
Certainly
term.
On the safety issues, they're better than new.
Yeah, I like that term, better than new, because it's really hard to describe what we're doing here. I like what you just said, better than new.
Yeah.
Okay, let me play a little, play us out, and thanks for your input there, Grant.
Sure.
Thanks for watching our video, and thank you also for helping keep the Hammond Tone Wheel B3 organ alive. We couldn't do all this work that we do here without you. And it would also help greatly if you could subscribe, like, ask for notifications for when we have new videos. That would be a big help for us. So we thank you once again. I'm signing off for now, but we will be back.